Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jimeron, and today I'm going to try to figure out what in the world is Sniper Elite 3. It is a game developed by Rebellion in 2014, and it's the third Sniper Elite. First one was Sniper Elite 1 for the PlayStation 2, which I played a long time ago, and I have really faint memories of it. I'll just remember that it was really hard. Then you have Sniper Elite V2, and then they changed the name scheme to the numbering, which is the third one. It's not V3. And then they made a few Sniper Elite zombie games, and they were financially successful enough to warrant a Sniper Elite 4, which came, I believe, at around 2017. The latest one that they released was Sniper Elite V2 Remaster and Strange Brigade before that in 2018, games of which I've played none. Sniper Elite 3 came into my library by Steam Gifts, and I just finished it because of the quarantine that we've been going under. I have nothing better to do, so I've been playing Sniper Elite 3 and Brutal Legend, which I haven't played, and I may make a video make a video on that too as well. But regardless, I just finished the campaign on Sniper Elite 3, and I wanted to go over a little bit of what the game is about, give you a little bit of a overview, and make a video that a million of which exist on the internet already, but not in 2020, hopefully. It's been 6 years since the game released, and what do we see already? There we go, ultra-wide support. Look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. My god, it looks amazing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, The Outer Worlds came out in 2019, and it doesn't have ultra-wide support. Interesting. Let's go to the options menu real quick. You have a few categories. Let's see, game, cutscenes, subtitles, cutscene subtitles, excuse me, rather. Inventory, show, bullet cameras. I eventually, on the second map, I had to disable my bullet cams completely because they were getting way too frequent. If you put minimal, there's still going to be a lot of them. Reduced, normal, increased, it's pretty much going to be almost all the time. I will have it on reduced just for this gameplay, so you can see kind of an idea of what it looks like. Multiplayer bullet cam, the last thing you want to do is stay in slow motion when you're shooting someone in multiplayer and get shot at. Aim assist, I'm going to have it on. This is just a red marker that shows up when you hold shift to hold down your breath. If you are playing on high difficulty aim, it's recommended that you have that, although it kind of defeats the purpose. For veterans of gaming styles like this, I expect them to have all these assists off, but I have it on off because the only difficulty on the aiming I had enabled was the gravity, but we'll get to that in a second. Empty lung zoom, that's when you empty your lungs, it zooms in a little bit extra. It's kind of like a additional thing to help you out. So we're gonna have it there. Display, here we go. Ultra wide resolution, which is crazy good. I commend the developers for that. There's no windowed or borderless windowed mode that you can switch through, which is kind of a weird option in my opinion. But graphics detail custom, because we're gonna go in advanced and see all the graphical options. Texture detail ultra, shadow detail, anti-aliasing. I have this off because it kind of gives a blurry image to the text, to the edges, and I prefer to have the little bit pixelated thing just to make it a little bit clearer. Draw distance, you kind of want that as high as possible so you can see where the enemies are. Anisotrophic filtering, super sampling, that's going to be a little bit taxing. I'm running at 120, and if I turn this up to 4, I'm dropping to sub 50, 49 frames per second. If I have it on 2.25, I'm at 80 frames, and at off, it is at 120 frames, but it makes a pretty good difference. I'm seeing here, the pole is a little bit pixelated. When I put it on 225, I don't really see any of the pixels, and then if If I increase it even more, the depth of field kind of goes away, which I hate. And this is really straight. However, we will be keeping it at off just to get that extra frame rate. Motion blur off for obvious reasons. Ambient occlusion, reduced mouse lag. I'm not exactly sure what this does, but I do have it off. Most people have it off from what I've seen on the internet. VSync doesn't matter. Actually, on this one, yes, it does matter because the game doesn't natively recognize G-Sync, and the default refresh rate for the game will be at 60 for the VSync, which does not work for G-Sync, and there's going to be tearing if you don't have VSync enabled. But if you have VSync enabled, the game will be at 60 frames per second locked. The only way to go about this, the developers have made a post on Steam. I'm going to link in the description. In the Steam launch settings, you have you put a little bit of code on there. It's just a couple of things. Hertz equals 120 hertz, and then you pretty much close that, and it works fine. 120 frames, it works awesome. Tessellations and obscurance fields enabled, all nice and dandy. And default, I don't have an AMD graphics card, so this is going to be out. Audio, you have music, speech, sound effects, and default. That's pretty much all you need from the game. There's no master slider, which is kind of a disappointment, but it's okay. You can just go individually and do that. There's no field of view from what I've seen. However, I didn't feel like it needed one because the field of view is pretty satisfactory for an ultrawide especially. So, controls, you can rebind pretty much anything here, which is awesome. This is where you find this mouse smoothing and mouse acceleration settings. It is imperative that you disable these. Mouse acceleration comes on by default, and when I first launched the game, I just turned it off after 5 seconds of playing because I couldn't play with mouse acceleration. So this comes on, and this is available. I don't even know why you would want mouse smoothing and mouse acceleration on these games. So just do yourself a favor to turn these off, and then you can rebind pretty much whatever your heart desires, which is awesome. I haven't felt the need to rebind. I could have rebounded a few things, like the takedown is E, which is kind of an odd choice for me. If you ask me, melee kill is E. I could have made it into my side mouse button, but I just left it. I just kind of lived with it. The search body button is Z, and that is a weird one. I can't find it. Yeah, there we go. Search corpse Z. You may want to change that to something a little bit easier to reach. Kind of got used to it in the end. You have quick save and quick load. You can save the game at any moment if you're not in combat or not going up ladders and reloading your gun, which is awesome. And do absolutely use the manual saves, because the game's autosave is not good at all. It is very unforgiving, so keep that in mind when you play the game. And sensitivity, I have my mouse settings on high DPI and sensitivity on low, so every time I play a game, pretty much I have to move everything to the bottom because everything is super fast, but this is my setting. Yours may differ according to your mileage. So the campaign, you have challenges in multiplayer. I haven't really touched the multiplayer. It's not very popular. Obviously, not a lot of people are playing this game, so I've had quite a hard time trying to find people to play with, but we're going to go over the campaign here. We're going to do the mission select. I finished the game. This is the last mission. It took me 4 hours to beat the whole thing, and I was playing in the easiest difficulty with only gravity. Just I wanted to get through, but for the most part, the enemy difficulty doesn't change much. I'll get to the detail here in just 1 second. We're going to be selecting our own mission. This is a beginning mission. I kind of liked the Oasis, so we're going to go on that one. You have a few difficulty settings you can choose from, and on the bottom here it will tell you what they do. So Cadet, Light Challenge, no bullet ballistics, Marksman, Fair Challenge, Simplified bullet ballistics, Unforgiving enemies, Sniper Elite, and then Authentic, only sniping purist and masochist are welcome, no saving allowed. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to go custom, and I love that it lets you customize your difficulty the way you want it to. So, enemy skill, rookie, veteran, and elite. Elite kind of solves a few veteran issues, but the main difficulty that you're going to be the main difference you're going to be seeing from the difficulties is going to be the detection speed and the health of the enemies and how much damage they do from the weapons, which, yeah, that makes sense, right? Well, it doesn't really change their dynamic of how they fight you, how quickly they go into cover, how quickly they will shoot at you when they see you. It only changes how quickly they detect you, and it's kind of disappointing. If it does change the other values, it's only by slightly. So we're going to set it on elite just to see what it's like. Ballistic realism, this is going to be how realistic, or how difficult rather, the aiming will be. You have bullets travel in a straight line in the simple. Nothing will affect the bullets. You have limited, which gravity will affect your bullets, and your scope will be slightly less steady. So you're going to be seeing a little bit of scope wobble, which is how I played the game here. And then you have realistic, which gravity and wind will affect bullets, and your heart rate will affect your scope a lot more. Absolutely bonkers. I've tried this. It makes the game a little bit more difficult, a little bit more frustrating. But the fact that you have the aim assist on, which is how most people play, I would imagine, kind of negates the whole difficulty thing. I played on limited because I don't want to deal with the whole wind and all that stuff. It's just more work. And when you play a video game, I don't want to feel like I'm making a chore happen. I want to feel like I'm having fun. So I'm just going to do realistic for now. Tactical assistance, I'm going to have it on a full. This will be the warning indicators and the detection indicators and all this stuff. These are all off on the highest difficulty. So play on your own skill. I liked having the enemies on rookie and the limited realism on the ballistics, because I don't want to have this on the cadet. I don't want to have simple ballistic realism. I want to have the limited, but here we go. Elite, continue. Now, this is your loadout here. You have three weapon slots and one sniper, or rifle rather, one semi-automatic or a bazooka, and a handgun. So this is you have loadouts here. This is my loadout. Let's see. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. I just say Carcano, but it's probably Carsano. I didn't bother Googling to see what it looks like, what it's pronounced like. You start with a Garand, but I had a hard time aiming with this because, as you can see, the muzzle velocity is very, very low on this guy. And when I switched to this weapon, I'm like, wow, I am aiming way too high. I need to aim on a straighter line. So this is an awesome weapon to have for travel distance. This is your third option. The velocity also goes down, but you have a little bit less scope wobble and a lot less recoil. And this is the best, quote-unquote, sniper that you're going to find in the game. It has a little bit more wobble, a little bit less travel velocity, a little bit less zoom, but the recoil and damage are massively benefit. I honestly prefer this one because it's a more well-rounded rifle. Although this does do a lot of damage, I can only imagine this is going to be useful on multiplayer. So we're going to be picking this for now. You have 4 options on this one. You have the Sten Mark II, MP40. This is easy to find ammunition for. This is semi-easy to find ammunition for. And you have the Thompson, which is the best of all the semi-automatic rifles. But it's really difficult to find ammo for unless you find a cache. I do have this because you're not going to be using this a lot of the time. You're only going to be using it here and there. And the fact that you cannot find ammo for it as often is not a problem, especially on the lower difficulties. So we're still going to pick that. And this guy, do not pick this as one of the secondary weapons because if you have to destroy a tank, although you can destroy tanks and everything with the sniper by shooting at the critical spots, it is going to be laying around. Once you see this on the battlefield, you're going to be like, I'm probably going to fight a vehicle soon, so I might as well pick it up. My personal preference is the Thompson. You have 3 options for the handgun. You have the Well Rod, which is a silent pistol, which has a really low rate of fire and not a lot of range of damage. You have the Luger, which is the German handgun, and then the Webley, which is the revolver. It has a lot of damage and somewhat of the biggest range of all 3 options. However, it is very loud. This is the second loudest one, but it has a high rate of fire. And this is the Well Rod. I cannot imagine any moment that I would be picking these except multiplayer. Probably this one for the high rate of fire. Absolutely necessary to have the Well Rod because it is silent, and as you can imagine, in World War II there were no silencer on the snipers, so forget about that. These are your extra items that you can carry around. Now keep in mind you only have 6 that you can pick from the beginning, but that's not your maximum loadout. You can still pick up stuff throughout the map. I think you have 8 total or 9 total inventory slots instead of the 6. So do keep that in mind, and you can pick maximum of 2 of each, or you can have 1 of pretty much everything. You have bandages, which will help you heal a little bit less than what the med kit will, but the bandages are faster and you can move around while using them. Med kit will fully restore your health, but you cannot move while you're doing so, and it is a lot slower. You have a grenade, which I've used 2 times. Not very useful. You have dynamite, which is recommended to have if you want to destroy some tanks. You have landmine, which I never got to use. Trip mine, S-mine, which is a anti-infantry mine, and you have AP rounds, armor piercing rounds. So I may as well pick that over the grenade, and I'm gonna have the dynamite on this one, and then I'll have a bandage here. 2 bandages and medkits are kind of necessary when you're playing on higher difficulties. So you can customize your rifle. You can change the scope. This scope increases the wobble, but also increases the zoom. I'm considering it, but there's already a lot of wobble on the higher difficulty, so we're not going to go for that. You have the barrel that you can change. This one reduces recoil, but also reduces the velocity, so that's not going to be useful for us. And you unlock more of these later in the game. Something like this reduces recoil, but also damage, so you know, these modifications I've never been a fan of. You have the stock, which you can I've only unlocked the standard, but you have pattern fitted right here, and action, which will give you some more benefits here. So both of these reduce the velocity but increase either the damage or decrease the recoil. Not a good trade. Not a good trade. And then you can change your rectile depending on what you want to do. This is the default one, and not much changing from this to this, besides it's a little bit cleaner. I'm gonna pick this. I like that. It's a little bit cleaner. That's about it for the loadout. Can't change anything on the Thompson, which is a shame. But you have a few presets that you can choose from quickly, which is nice. And here's the difficulty. So we're going to start the mission. Now, these are really fast loading times, by the way. As you can see, it's incredibly fast, which is crazy for me. First thing I noticed when I played the game, graphically, it's not a bad game to look at. This is a game from 2014. And I believe it's one of those games that most people slept on because I don't see it be so popular as far as reviews and stuff go, but this looks nice. However, if you've played Sniper Elite 4, you will pretty much think, no, this doesn't look nice. Well, in comparison to Sniper Elite V2, this looks tremendously more beautiful. Sniper Elite 2 was a little bit more bland when it came to the colors. This one has green, it has vegetation, it has the blue from the water. But for the most part, it is a desert map. After we saw what they did with Elite 4, Sniper Elite 4, that game looks a lot better than this, and if it's hard to believe, you just have to play Sniper Elite 4, but for the most part, you do get kind of used to the... let's take this guy out. Chain. Oh, this guy saw me. Okay, so he saw him go down, but he didn't see me. We're going to talk about the mechanics here in a second, but you get used to the sniper, the desert setting way too quick. It gets a little bit drawn out, a little bit old. Not a huge fan of the desert setting, but they do try the best, and they actually do a good job with the variety in the environment. So I gotta give him credit for that. This guy's gonna come to investigate here, and we're gonna shoot him in the face. Here's the other guy. You will have noticed on the top there is an indicator every time a plane or something loud takes place. That is the sound masking. So the way they... let's see, can I... here we go. Why did that not kill him? That is weird. I'm gonna try this one more time. He's gone. So, sound masking, it's one of the ways to help you play the game a little bit the way it was intended. If you have to snipe, then you will be heard. There's no silencers on the snipers. So one way to compensate with that is when something loud is taking place, you have the ability to shoot at the enemies, and they will not hear your shot. That is one way for you to pretty much compensate and play the game the way it's meant to be played, by sniping everyone all the time. You have the minimap, which the minimap is pretty helpful. However, it's not very big in the area that it covers. I'm gonna search these bodies here. So if you rely on the minimap way too much to see for the enemies, then that's not going to be very helpful to you, because you will be spotted way before you're able to spot the enemies on the minimap. So definitely keep better attention on your environments here instead of relying on the minimap too much. So sound masking, every time you see that icon on the top of your screen,
I can mask my shots.
And the game does make sure to tell you about it. You can shoot and you're not going to be heard. So if you shoot without having a sound masking on, the enemies will search for cover, and they will kind of be alert and not really search because they don't have your location. But after the second or the third time that you shoot the enemies, they're going to start searching for you because they're going to have your location, and it will be displayed by an exclamation mark and a ghost. There we go. A ghost figure from of your silhouette. Now, it says that they're going in cover on the bottom left. That's because that's exactly what they're doing. They don't have my location. So the game does not tell me that I need to relocate. Once I have to relocate, that means that they have my location. So it's time to book it. I do like the stealth mechanics of the game because it does... oh, fuck. This guy hid before I could see him. This is one thing. This is the veteran difficulty. This is supposed to be the highest difficulty of the game, right? But this is what happened. The guy just walked away. Oh, my buddy just got shot in the head, and his skull has a hole in it now. What am I to do with my life? Well, there we go. These are things that not even the elite difficulty of the game will solve for you. So, besides the enemies detecting you a lot quicker and doing a lot more damage and be a little bit more accurate than what the normal difficulty is, not much else is different when it comes to it. It doesn't fix a lot of the problems. These are your binoculars. You can mark players, but there's only a limit of how many enemies you can have marked at the same time. So keep that in mind when you try to mark people. The game will not allow you to mark every single enemy in the map, which I think is a fair trade. I think it's a fair balance. So those guys were shooting the anti-air gun, and they've been alerted, so they're not going to be doing that anymore to mask my shots. But thankfully, we still have the airplanes going up. Another thing I want to touch on is the length of the game and how long it takes you to complete each level. So when I played on the easiest difficulty and only the gravity affecting my shots, I tried to play a little bit more stealthily just to feel the immersion of the game a little bit more. However, once you start sniping, this guy will see me. Yep, that's just an indicator of the difficulty coming into play. Once you start sniping everyone, it becomes apparent that the AI is not very smart. And let's see, can I take this guy out? Nope, never mind. I'm just gonna let him be. The AI is gonna be a little bit easier to get rid of in the easiest difficulties, and once you start sniping and everyone is running and gunning at you, you realize that you can easily take pretty much everyone. And that is one problem that I found with the easiest difficulty, that it's too easy. But increasing the difficulty doesn't really do much else to challenge you. And I could have taken him now. In terms of giving you a real challenge. Can this guy see me? Nope. And you pretty much control exactly how long each level will last. The game's length took me 4 hours to complete. Oh, let's see, can we take this guy out? There we go. So, relocate. So it's telling me to relocate because the guy saw me. He spotted me. And these guys don't know where I'm at. Oh. No aim assist. Bam. Ooh, I just hit him in the back. No, headshot. Now, you may have noticed that... Okay, yep. So now that they heard the shot, they know where it came from, so they have a general idea of where to look. So we're gonna have to relocate. Right here. Ghost. So I'm a ghost. That means I pretty much escaped, which is cool. They're still gonna be alert and searching, but they're gonna be searching right over there. They're not gonna be searching where I am right now, unless some of them sees me. But the detection on the AIs is a little bit weird, because if one of them detects you, he's not really going to run and tell his buddies. Let's see, can I take this guy out when the plane comes? Oh, the plane doesn't work here. Interesting. Ooh, that did not work. I'm right behind you, bitch. Awesome. So, as you can see, this guy died. People dying left and right, but eventually the AI will just go back to being normal. Hey, I don't know what's happening. I'm just minding my own business here, you know. And that is something that the difficulty cannot change for the game. This is just inherent in the game. That's just the game mechanics. Eventually, you're gonna need the AI to go back to normal so you can just play the game, but that's just a problem, in my opinion, that cannot really be changed or fixed. So we're just gonna search this guy. As you're gonna notice, I'm already down on my wall rod ammo. You have 8 on the pistol, and then 8 more reserve that you can reload with. But each time you shoot it, you have to cock it. It's very slow fire rate. So if you're playing this game and you're thinking, oh, maybe I can just take out everybody with the wall rod, that's not going to be possible. You just don't have enough ammo. But hopefully, just like now, when you search bodies, you can pick up some more well-rod ammo. So about the length of the game, it only took me 4 hours. However, it is possible that you can set your own difficulty and play the game the way you want to play the game, at your own pace and at your own speed. So right now already, this map is taking me a lot longer than... Ooh, that is interesting to say the least. Okay, so we're gonna ignore that. We're gonna pretend we didn't see that happen. He's probably too far. So I don't know what this ghost thing means, but I think it's pretty badass. You have rocks that you can throw in order to... Really? They heard me from in there? As you can see in the minimap, it's yellow. That means they noticed heard the sound, which is kind of annoying. That happens all the time. You can be inside a building or underground, and you're going to be running normally, and you're going to be almost detected, which makes no sense to me, but hey, I'm not the game developer. So this guy is really going to come out here and try to look for me. Are you kidding me? Alright, I'm going to have to take these guys out. Gonna have to infiltrate through that side instead of this side. I don't trust this side. Another thing that I really don't appreciate as much is the amount of weapons that are in the game. I understand that there's gonna be limitations due to the setting, but it would have been nice to see some more DLC of weapons that may not necessarily have been in World War II, but it wouldn't hurt anybody to try to include them. Holding Q brings up your inventory. If you scroll the mouse wheel, you're going to be switching between your pistol, your rifle, and then your automatic weapon, which kind of makes picking up your secondary item a little bit more difficult. You do have to hit Q and try to switch to whatever you're going to be using at the time. So if I want to use the dynamite, I have to hit Q and switch to the dynamite, and then I can use flint and steel to ignite it, which will take some time to catch on fire, and then it will blow up. Or I can shoot it with any of my weapons, and then it will still blow up, which is pretty nice. I'm going to be having the automatic rifle here. Oh, I didn't have time. I want to try to take these guys out slowly, but this may not be way too easy. It may not be easier than I thought. I'm gonna move a little bit closer. The storyline is okay. I didn't fully follow it. Oh, this guy saw me. Shit. No. He did not, which is awesome. Is he coming? Wow, you're gonna be serving yourself on a platter for me? Oh, fuck. This happens all the time in this game. Really? There we go. I am still a ghost. Search the body. Nope, I'm not gonna be searching the body. I can easily take these guys out when the next plane comes about, if I move in a better position. So the game also uses an automatic cover system, where right now I'm not really sure if I am in cover. I'm not quite certain. I am in cover now, and I wasn't this whole time. And there's not a clear indication of whether or not you're in cover. So sometimes you will be thinking you're in cover, and you're actually not going to be in cover. So that's kind of confusing. I wish there was a way for you to control how you go into cover and how... Ooh, nice bonus. I wish you could actively go into cover manually and not having to rely on the game's automatic mechanics, because they're not always operating properly. Let's see if we can snipe this guy. There we go. Wow, no shot cam? That's kind of disappointing. While in ghost mode, we do get a little bit of extra XP, which is nice. Absolutely. Oh. Did this guy hear me? There we go. That needed to be done anyway. Every time you see these things and you need to blow them up, rest assured that there's gonna be a dynamite nearby that you have to shoot, and it will contribute onto the destruction of the anti-aircrafts. So the cover system of the game is something that I'm not a huge fan of as well. I wish it wasn't automatic, but it is what it is. The visual vistas of the game are kind of nice. This is a 2014 title, but it just looks so damn pretty. It really does. This is the Oasis, and it really does look like an oasis. It really sells the environment. Everything is barren all around it, and then you have the nice trees and the water here, and this torn down building that people seem to be using to live in it. This is a bazooka guy. We're gonna be taking him out here shortly. If it all went well, yep, nobody heard my shot. I'm still a ghost, which is awesome. All thanks to the sound masking, which really helps you play the game the way it's meant to be played. You're a sniper, and you need to snipe people. There's no silencers, and what better way to do... Oh, this guy. I forgot this is the elite difficulty. Oh. Okay. There we go. No assist. Hard shot. I'm still a ghost, but I do need to relocate. As you can see, here is... Oh, there's no ghost figurine. Okay. There's no ghost silhouette, which is weird. Gonna go up these stairs. Going up the stairs is a little bit slow. I'm not a huge fan of the speed. And also, fall damage in this game is very, very weird. You take fall damage from everything. Even if you fall a short distance from the ladder, you're gonna be taking fall damage. Ooh, this... Really? Don't ruin my sniper. My ghost bonus. And he's still seeing me. And here goes my ghost. So, magically now, all the enemies know my location, which is slightly disappointing, to say the least, because it begs the question as to how could they possibly have known my location. Well, I can answer that question. It goes by sound. The game... Oh, decapitation probably. Kidney shot. Steadied. The game goes by sound mechanics, so the first shot will not give away your location, as I was talking about earlier, but the second shot will give away your location, and you're gonna have to relocate. There's my ghost silhouette right there. I probably couldn't see it because of the sun. And boy, these are some really bright frickin' environments. The sun is very bright. I'm not a huge fan of the god rays. They are quite intrusive, and they don't look very realistic, in my opinion. And these are some high quality ones. There were some god lights, god rays in a previous map, and they were really pixelated and very ugly to look at, and they kind of took away from the experience. I'm gonna head back down. Unfortunately, we lost the ghost bonusing, but what are you gonna do? I've never used the rock, in all honesty. It is a way to distract your enemies. I can imagine it can be useful if you try to make a move into a certain location. However, I just never had the need to use it in order to distract the enemies. I just kind of went for it without even really worrying about it. So the missions are going to be very interesting because here's a side mission right there. If we go into the map, we're going to see optional objectives: destroy AA guns and investigate German supply caches. It's going to show you where they're at. So I don't see, this is definitely the AA guns right here. I don't see where the other mission is, but this is the primary mission, and you're going to have main objectives that will be changing throughout the mission. So you're going to have one primary objective and you're going to move to the next one and so forth. The optional objectives, some of them will show up from the beginning, but there's going to be a healthy amount of them that you're going to have to find for yourself. What I mean by that is, I was in a map where you had a bunker kind of set up. Here you can see we picked up a trip mine. We already have the S mine. We picked up a trip mine, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna switch to... I don't have the grenade. I'm gonna have dynamite here. There was a map where I was just walking through and I was going to my primary objective and I stumbled upon a reinforcement radio, and one of the side objectives popped up as, hey, destroy the radio so no reinforcements can be called. That wasn't there in the beginning of the map. That showed up afterwards. So it really goes to show that there's a lot of content, and I really do mean it when I say that you can set your own length for the campaign. That was too quick. I didn't have time. So right now, I believe we're in cover. No, we're not in cover. Not going to give you time to uncover me. This is one of the maps where you have to destroy a tank after you complete the main missions. So you can take your time and explore and pretty much kill everybody in the map. Ooh. Alright, guy. Nothing to see there. Move on. Move along. He's gonna try to investigate. Okay. Maybe we don't go this way. Maybe we go another way. There's definitely a lot of content on each map. It only took me 4 hours, but it doesn't necessarily have to take you 4 hours as well. Ooh. You saw the buddy, huh? Too bad. That's gonna be the last thing you ever saw. There's another guy coming from here. We're gonna take him out. Come on, little buddy. They take 2 body shots to kill. Sometimes they take 3 if they're a higher ranking officer. And on the subject, by the way, I only have 5 rounds left, which is very troubling. I have to be more careful and a little bit less generous with my well rod shots. So you can definitely make the game last a little bit more if you go for all the collectibles, all the side objectives, pretty much everything. You can discover the whole map, and you absolutely should. If this is the type of game that you're into, then stealth and everything, this is definitely right up your alley. I absolutely recommend this. While I was playing it, I couldn't help by comparing it a little bit to Hitman, the Hitman games, but not the originals, the reboots. Because the originals were a little bit more linear. Well, actually, a lot more linear. They were 100% linear. Compared to Hitman and Hitman 2. If you've played Hitman 2 or Hitman 1 before Hitman 2 came out, you're going to be familiar with the concept of having an open map and kind of tackling everything your own way. There's not going to be a set path that you need to follow, and I believe that to be an amazing accomplishment when it comes to gaming development. Awesome, I picked up 4 more well rod shots. You do really have to be careful with how many you pick. I do appreciate the fact that this is kind of like a make your own adventure. Obviously, Hitman and Hitman 2 are significantly more liberal when it comes to how much freedom they give you. With Hitman, you barely have a main objective, and you don't even have a way with which to tackle that main objective. And as you spend your time trying to go around the map and interact with a bunch of activities, you pretty much discover, every time you play a game, you discover a brand new way on how to tackle it. There's so many ways that you can infiltrate your main mission in Hitman 2, but in this one, there's only a handful of paths that you can take, and you don't really have a choice of how you really do the main mission. The only thing that you can stumble across is just additional side objectives that you can complete for more experience points. Expect to be about level 7 or 8 when you finish the main campaign, if you play on the easiest difficulty and you kill everybody. But the higher the difficulty, the more experience that you get, so keep that in mind if you're trying to level up quicker. Quicker is relative because it's going to take you a lot longer to go through the maps if the difficulty is higher.
Quiet.
Definitely stay low and quiet. That's pretty much the gist. I think I've talked about everything I learned by playing this game. I like it. It's an old one. It's pretty cheap to pick up now. It's not that expensive. I think currently it's on the Humble Bundle COVID-19 relief donation package that you can buy. If not, then disregard what I said. If it is, I'm gonna have it linked in the description. It's $30 and you get like 30 games or something like that. You get a lot of games, but there you go, guys. This has made me want to pick up Sniper Elite 4 and give that a try. I've seen some gameplay videos and my god, the game looks incredible. So I may be checking it out. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.